And online people, please confirm my voice is audible or not.
Yes, sir, audible.
Okay. So in the morning session, we started discussing about Agile. So within the Agile, we discussed about what all are the different roles we can able to see in Agile. And next we discussed about what all are different meetings we can able to see in Agile. And next we discussed about what kind of activities we are going to perform in Agile. So all these are the different topics we covered as part of our morning session. From the Agile perspective, we understood what are the different activities we are going to perform. Now we'll try to perform same activities in practical. So in practical is nothing but, so we'll try to create some stories and we'll try to understand how to move those stories from to do to in progress to resolve. This is one thing, and we'll try to see how we can able to start the sprint and how we can able to stop the sprint. So once we are going to perform some practicals on top of this, with this what will happen, you can able to get some in detail knowledge about the Agile. For that reason, we'll try to perform the practicals on top of this Agile methodology. With that, you can able to get end-to-end picture what we are going to perform by using the Agile in our real-time projects. Okay, but if you want to perform the practice on top of the Agile, we need to install or we need to take account in Jira board. So we have to take account in the Jira board. With that account, we can able to perform all the required practicals on top of the Agile. Generally, what will happen is in real time, for every person, we are going to have separate account, or we'll have single account for a team. Any guesses? What's the answer for this? In real time, for every person, we are going to have the separate Jira account, or we are going to have the single account for a entire team. So see here, in the real time, what will happen is for entire team, you are going to have the single Jira account. And as part of logging in, just you need to provide your username and password. With that, you can able to log in into that Jira board. But coming to here you are not working as a team, or you are not working as you are going to work as a individual person. As part of doing the practice, you are going to work as individual person. For that reason, what we'll do here is we'll create account for each individual. After creation of the account, you yourself think you are a team. So because here we cannot able to replicate the team culture as part of doing the practice because every individual is going to create as a Jira account. In that Jira account, for example, after creation of this Jira account with my name Srinivas, what I can do here within this Jira, if I want, I can able to create 10 stories. But tell me, can I able to assign these stories to the other people? We can assign just by namesake, we can able to assign it. But what I'm telling here is, instead of assigning it to the other people, all these 10 stories assign on your name only. And after that, we can able to see how to move it into in progress and close. All these kind of things we'll try to understand by using that Jira account. Indirectly, in the real time, once we are going to create one Jira account, in that Jira account, we are going to create the stories for all the team members and we can able to assign all the stories to the individual team member. As a Scrum Master, he is going to perform all those kind of activities in the real time. But in our classes, for the purpose of doing the practice, what we are going to do here, every individual is going to create the account. Now, in that Jira account, who is going to act as a Scrum Master? In that Jira account, who is going to act as a Scrum Master? You yourself is going to act as a Scrum Master. And who is going to act as a team member? Again, you yourself is going to act as a team member. I am giving the heads up to you. Otherwise, what will happen? Once we are going to start the practicals, you can able to get the confusion. To avoid the confusion, just I am saying that in the practice, in the Jira account, You yourself is going to act as a Scrum Master. You yourself is going to act as a team member. Now indirectly, as part of doing the practice, who need to create the stories? Who need to create the stories? You yourself has to create the stories. After that, who need to move the stories? You can able to say you yourself is going to move the stories. Indirectly, you yourself is acting as a Scrum Master. You yourself is acting as a team member as part of doing the practice. But if we are going to work in the real time, your Scrum Master will create all the stories and he will assign the stories to the required team members. With that, we are going to perform the moving the stories from the to do to in progress and in progress to the closed status. All those kind of activities we are going to perform in the real time. But as part of doing the practice in the classes, we are going to create the Jira account. In that Jira account, you yourself is going to act as a Scrum Master and you yourself is going to act as a team member. With that, you can able to perform the practice. Is it clear? Okay. If it is clear, I will try to create the accounts. So please open our browser and Google Chrome browser. Just open our Chrome browser. In that, just search for Jira board creation. Please search for Jira board creation. Just open a Chrome browser. In the browser, please search for Jira board creation. After that, you can able to see the first link called as Atlassian. Please click on that link. You can able to see the link called as Jira software for all teams. Try Jira for free. You can able to see the link like that, Andy. Please click on that link. So please click on the first link. So once you are going to click on the first link, you can able to get some window like this, and Jira software is easier than ever. Like that, you can able to see one kind of window. In that window, you can able to see option called as a continue with Google. Please click on that. In my system, I already created the account. That's the reason I taken the screenshots, and please follow the screenshots one by one. Please click on continue with Google. Once you click on the continue with Google, it is asking to which mail ID you want to log in, Andy. So here, whatever the GCP mail ID you given, you can use the same mail ID. But here for this Jira account creation, there is no link with our GCP account, Andy. But instead of giving the different mail ID again, here also better to give the same Jira mail ID. With that, you can able to create the Jira account. Again, I'm repeating, there is no dependency between the GCP cloud to our Jira. Jira is completely separate. Don't think about you are going to charge with the GCP money, Andy. Nothing is going to charge, but only for the namesake we have to give the mail ID. For that reason, just give the mail ID which are related to your GCP account. If it is asking the mail ID password, please provide the mail ID and password. Okay. So after that, you can able to get one more window like this. In this window, please click on create your account. You can able to see your mail address and you can able to see the full name. After that, it is asking for create the your account. Please click on that, create your account. Please click on create your account. Once you click on the create your account, it is asking some kind of puzzle, Andy. So please solve that puzzle. It is asking, click on the some cells, something like that. It is asking, please do that activity. With that, you can able to go to the next step. Don't ask me how to solve the puzzle. For every person, it's an individual puzzle, Andy. Please do yourself. Okay. SAR is not given the support to solve the puzzle. That's the feedback. So please solve the puzzle. Once you are going to solve the puzzle, what will happen is here you can able to see the one more window called as welcome back, your name, and you can able to see your email ID. After that, it is asking the site name, Andy. In this site name, by default, indirectly, we are going to create the Jira URL. There, provide your name. If that name is already available in the Jira side, you will get the error. Then modify that. For example, if my name is Srinivas, if I'm trying with the Srinivas, I got the error. After that, I given it as a Srinivas 552. With that, I am able to create in the URL like that. In the same way, please give some name. If you are getting any kind of error, please modify that. But please remember, whatever the name you are giving, please remember that name. Indirectly, we are trying to create the Jira URL here. Whatever the name you are giving, please remember that name. And click on agree. Click on agree. Okay. In the next window, it is asking about something. Tell me about yourself only. Indirectly, what kind of profession you are doing or what kind of work you are doing. Just you can able to select any random values. Click on next. It's not mandatory for us. In the next window, it is asking to select some values. Please select any random values. With that, click on the next. So after that, please wait for a few minutes to create your Jira board. It will take 30 to 40 seconds, Andy. Please wait for a few minutes to create the Jira board. Any issues up to here, please let me know.
It is asking to select your workflow.
Yeah, that's the thing. You can select anything. Oh, 1 second. Please see my screen. So this is the screen you are seeing, or you are seeing any different thing? Or tell me what's
No,
the
different ones.
what's the options it is showing in the select workflow?
Sprint planning, project management, issues tracking.
Showing welcome and software development, so many segments in this.
Okay, can you do one thing, Andy? Can you please share your screen? Who is talking? Yeah, who is having that question? Can you please share? Tell me the name. I will give the access to you. With that, you can able to share.
Satyendra Kumar, no?
Satyendra Verma. Okay, 1 second.
Yeah.
So if you are not understanding anything, please let me know only. So don't do the mistakes. Okay, it's a very simple activity. Don't complicate it. Yeah, given the access to you, can you please share your screen? Hello, are you sharing your screen?
Yes, I'm saying. So this thing is there.
Okay, as I told you, you can able to select anything. So other people also, it is saying that welcome, what kind of work do you do? You can select any random value. Nothing is going to happen. It's just for the sake of we have to give. You can use software development, no issues.
Okay.
Sir, can I share my screen?
1 second. Someone is up. Sorry.
To select workflow.
Just 1 second. Only. After people are asking the question. Please select the in that window, please select the software development. In the next window, it is asking for sprint planning or project management. There select the sprint planning, then click on next.
Sir, screen is not able to see this.
Yeah, I will start screen share again.
Yeah, before that screen, which one? Before that, just go up little bit.
This one.
Okay.
So here, please select software development. After that, please select sprint planning.
Sprint planning after that gets started, right?
Yeah. You are done?
Done, sir.
Online people, anyone facing the issues? It's a very simple activity. If you are facing any issues, please let me know.
Sir, here showing only project / my Scrum project. But sir, your screen showing my Kanban project.
Sorry, can you please tell me?
My screen showing project / my Scrum project. But here Kanban project is there.
Yes, okay, Andy. That's okay, no issues. If you see here below, I'm after that I selected the Scrum, then we can able to jump to the Scrum project also.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. Now I hope most of the people are completed, Andy. Now see here, just I will go to my window. Okay. Now hope you can able to see here your project in the header. You can able to see your projects, filters, dashboards, teams, app. At the same time, in the left side, you can able to see. Forgot about this Sunday. So GP sprint, all these things forgot. I created the sprint for myself. Forgot about these things. But in the header, you can able to see all this kind of information. At the same time, in the left side, you can able to see board, backlog, timeline, code. Like that, you can able to see the multiple information. Now, what we have to do here is, I think everyone is having project / your Scrum board, right? There, please click on the projects. Here you can able to see projects / your Scrum board, something like that. There, just to click on the projects. There, just to click on the projects. Okay, so once you click on the projects, then you can able to see the window like this. One second, it's loading. Here you can able to see the multiple options, and if you remember earlier we discussed within the Agile set we are having the two types of the framework. One we can able to call it as a Kanban, one we can able to call it as a Scrum. Now you tell me which one we have to select. We have to select the Scrum because in the real time most of the people are following the Scrum only. So please click on the Scrum. Sorry.
I couldn't see those. Those.
Okay, just 1 second, Andy.
Sir, for me also it's not showing.
Okay, if you are not seeing that one, Andy, so please come back. So please click on the back to project template. Please click on back to project template. Okay, just wait here, Andy. So once you are in this page, once you click on the projects, at least you are able to see the create a project option. Please click on that. Please click on create project option. Please click on create project option. Once you click on the create project option, I think here we can able to see the Kanban, Scrum and everything, right? Okay, so please click on the Scrum here. Once you click on the create project, There you can able to see Kanban and Scrum and top level planning, all these kind of things. There, please click on Scrum. Please click on Sum. After that, click on Use Template. After that, please click on Use Template. After that, please click on Use Template. Now I hope everyone able to see this window. Same window, right? Okay. Now please click on Select a Team Management Project. Now click on Select a Team Management Project. Click on Select a Team Management Project. Now it is asking the name of your project and you can give any name. So comment here, I'm giving it as a GCP Data Engineering. You can give any name, but for my understanding, I'm giving the GCP Data Engineering _ dash 20 or 19. Anything is fine. Just to give you a name. After that, click on Next. After that, please click on Next. Okay. Once you click on Next, now you can able to see your project / whatever the name you given, you can able to see the project name only. So this is the way simply we can able to create the project. But tell me, if you are going to work in the real time, are we going to create the projects? We are not going to create the projects only. Your Scrum Master will take care of creation of the project activity. But here you are acting as a Scrum Master yourself. For that reason, you have to give the project name and you need to click on the Next button. With that, here you can able to see the window like this. Project / here we can able to see the project name. Below that, if you see here, GB board. Any cases, what is this? It's a kind of a shortcut name only. I given the name as a GCP Data Engineering _ batch 20. It is taken the first letter as a G. It is taken the batch first letter as a B. With that, it is showing the name as a GB board. Coming to your case, might be you're having some different name, but this is the shortcut name of your project name. I hope everyone on this window. Online people, any issues?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, here what is our requirement? Now you are in the sprint board. Our board name is nothing but GB board only. Now in this board, what we need to do here? We need to create all our stories, and after that we need to perform the planning activity. For the purpose of creation of the stories, what we can do here is, please go to the backlog. In the left side, you can able to see the board and backlog. Please click on the backlog. Please click on backlog. Okay. If you see here in the backlog session, what is the first session we are having? This is the sprint 1, which is nothing but first time you are creating the sprint, and for that reason, it is taken the name as your shortcut name sprint 1. Now, if you want to start the sprint, or we can able to close the sprint from here. Here we can able to see the option called as a start sprint. With that, we can able to start the sprint only. But before starting the sprint, we need to create the stories. For that reason, if you want to create the stories, what we have to do here is, if you see here, we can able to see the option called as a create. Please click on that. In the top, you can able to see the option called as a create. Please click on that. Please click on create. Once you click on the create, by default, it is taking your project name. After that, it is taking the issue type. I want to create the story, so leave it as is. After that, your current status is showing it as a to do only, which is nothing but first time you are creating the story. For that reason, it is showing the status is nothing but to do. And coming to summary, you have to provide the what is the name of your story. Coming to first one, don't complicate this. Just give it as a story 1. Later we'll see what's the names we need to provide. First one, just to try to understand the example, how we can able to create the story, and in the summary, just to give the story 1. In the description also, just give it as a story 1. In the summary, give it as a story 1. In the description also, just give it as a story 1. Indirectly, we are creating the story 1 by depending on our requirement. But in the real time, what we'll do here? We are going to give the summary. I am loading the data from the GCS to BigQuery. Or we are given the story name is I am loading the data by using the data proc for this table 1. Or we are giving it as a data is loading into the data proc table 2. Or we are giving GCS file uploading. Like that, we can able to provide the story names as part of our real time. We'll do that activity also. But coming to first example, just to give the dummy name, I'm giving it as a summary story 1. Description also, I'm giving it as a story 1. After that, please click on create. Once you click on the create, it is going to open a pop-up. In the pop-up, you can able to see one link and please click on that. Click on create. Once you click on the create, here you can able to get the pop-up like this. You have created GB1 link. After that, please click on the view issue. Once you click on the create, here you can able to get the pop-up like this. You have created GB1 issue. On top of that, please click on view issue. Please click on view issue. Now, if you see here, if you click on the view issue and by seeing this, you try to give the answer from where we can able to see the project name. At the header, if you see projects / your project name. After that, if you see, we are having the GB-1. What is the GB-1? That is your story name and the story number. As part of Scrum meetings also, you are going to have the so many stories. So as part of given the status, we have to specify this is the story number. For this is the story. So that is the way we have to give the explanation. That's the reason I'm saying that you can able to see the project name. After that, at the end, you can able to see the GB-1. In my case, this GB-1 is nothing but this is my story number, or we can able to call this is my story name. Here we can able to see what is the summary and we can able to see what is the description. Now, where we need to give the story points. If you see the same window left side, assign, we'll discuss later. Coming to sprint also we'll discuss later. If you see the story point estimate, how we need to give the story point estimates? What's the order? Fibonacci order, right? We have to give it as a 1, 2, 3, 5, 7. Like that, we have to give the Fibonacci order. Now you tell me what is the meaning of 1? It's a very simple story, which is nothing but, so you are having the two meanings of 1. One is if it is a very simple story, we can able to give it as a 1. What is the other meaning of 1? We need to complete the story within 1 day. Okay, we are having the two different meanings. In some projects we are calling it as a complexity. In some projects we are calling it as a in how many number of days you want to complete the execution. Now here for now give it as a 1. After giving the 1, below you can able to see the click button and a tick button. Please click on that. You created the story. After that, we are assigning the story points. Okay. Now my next requirement is I want to move the story to the sprint and so for that reason, just 1 second. Okay. Now, please click on the sprint. If you click on the sprint, you can able to see the current sprint name. So here I can able to see my name is nothing but GB sprint 1. In your case, might be you are having this different name and click on the sprint and select the sprint value. Indirectly, what I'm doing, whatever the story you created, we are moving the story to the sprint 1 and that's the reason here we need to go to the sprint and click on the GB sprint 1. Click on the sprint here. There you can able to see the sprint board name. Please select the sprint board name. In my case, I'm having the name as a GB sprint 1. Indirectly, this story we are working in the GB sprint 1. Okay. After that, here you can able to see the assignee and what is the meaning of assignee? Who is going to work on top of the story. Now, actually in the real time, what will happen here as a Scrum Master, he can able to assign this to the multiple people by depending on his requirement. But coming to here, you are the Scrum Master, you are only the team member. For that reason, what we can do? Just to click on assign to me. What is the meaning of assign to me, Andy? This story is assigning to yourself only. That's the reason. Just click on assign to me. So far what we have done, we created the story. After that, we given the story points. After that, we assign the story to a particular sprint. After that, we are assigning the story to a particular person. All these activities we performed so far.
Sir, with this, what we are doing, we are assigning our work.
Yeah, we are tracking all the tasks, whatever we are going to perform in the real time. So by using this,
Okay,
what I'm doing, just I'm creating a story one, which is nothing but for a particular task, I'm creating a story. With that, you can able to track all the details of your each and every story in this Jira board. Okay. Now, please click on the backlog one more time. Please click on backlog one more time. In the left side panel, please click on the backlog one more time. If you click on the backlog, now you can able to see whatever the story you created, that is in the sprint or that is in the backlog. That is in the sprint. What is the meaning of sprint, Andy? It's a iteration. Now, what is the sprint number? Sprint 1, which is nothing but in the iteration 1, you are going to work on top of the story. That is the meaning of your sprint 1. In the sprint 1, you are having the one of the story called as a GB-1. Indirectly in the sprint 1, you are going to work on top of this story. Okay. Now, for example, I want to add the stories which are going to work in future. In the sprint 2 or sprint 3, I want to work on the some stories, Andy. Now, where we need to place all those kind of stories? Any guesses? This is for sprint 1 story, but I want to work on the some of the stories in the sprint 2 or sprint 3 or sprint 4. I want to keep some of the stories for the future purpose. Then for that reason, where we have to create the stories. It's very simple. Below you can able to see the option called as a backlog, Andy. Now, if you want to create any story, you want to work on the story after 1 month or 2 months or 3 months, Andy. Then where we have to maintain all such kind of stories, you have to maintain all those stories in the backlog. Now we'll try to do one more activity. Try to create the one more story. Just to give the name as a story 2 in the summary. Try to create the one more story. How to create? In the top, click on create. With that, you can able to create the one more story. Here, by default, you can able to see the project name. You can able to see the issue type and come into summary. Just I'm giving story 2. After that, in the description also, you can give the story 2 only. Just to click on the create, and with that, just to create a one more story. For now, just to give the name as a story 2. After that, click on create. After that, click on create. Earlier, what we did, after creation of the story, immediately we click on the view issue, and don't click on anywhere here. Just to create the story and close this pop-up. Just to create the story and close the pop-up. Just to create the story and close the pop-up. If you see, whatever the story 2 we created, it went to the sprint or it went to the backlog. It went to the backlog. Why? Because we haven't given the in which sprint you want to do work on top of the story. For that reason, nowhere it went, Andy. Earlier for the story 1, we clicked on the story. After that, we specified I want to work on the story in the sprint 1. You selected the sprint 1. For that reason, that story came to the sprint 1, Andy. Like this. If you are having any future task, what we can do here? We can able to add all the future tasks into your backlog. Now, for example, in the real-time project, you are having the Jira board. You log into the Jira board. You want to understand what all are the future tasks I want to work in this project. Where we can able to see that information. Simply, you can able to click on the backlog. Once you click on the backlog, here you can able to see the current sprint in the top section. In the bottom section, we can able to see the backlog section. And in this backlog section, you can able to see all the list of the stories which we are going to work in the future days. Whenever you want to understand what is the future work in your project, simply you need to go to the Jira board. Within the Jira board, click on the backlog. In the backlog, top section is for the current sprint, bottom section is for the backlog information or future information. There we can able to see all the backlog details. With that, we can able to understand in future what task we are going to work. Okay. Now, for example, my requirement is I want to move this story to the current sprint. What I can do? Tell me, currently the story 2 is present where? In the backlog, which is nothing but we are saying that this is the future work. But now my requirement is I want to move this story to the current sprint. What I can do? One option, you need to open this story. Then you have to select the sprint option. And otherwise, what we can do here is just observe, just drag and drop. From the bottom window to top window, just to perform the drag and drop operation. With that, see what's happening here. Indirectly, what it means now? In the sprint 1, you are going to work on the story 1. In the same sprint, you are going to work on the story 2 also. Like that, you can able to move the stories from the backlog to your sprint 1 by depending on our requirement only. Just you need to perform the drag and drop operation. With that, you can able to move the story from backlog to your current sprint by depending on our requirement. So far, any questions? So far, what we did? Just we are creating the story, but tell me in the real time who is going to create the story? Second, I'm asking your Scrum Master. But at present, you yourself is acting as a Scrum Master. Indirectly, we are discussing about some topics on the Scrum Master side. We are creating the stories. At the same time, we are trying to understand how to move the stories from the backlog to your current sprint. Okay. And one more thing, if you observe here, for this story, here we are having the value as a 1. What it means? It's a 1 story point. But for this story, we don't have any points. Why? We haven't assigned. But my requirement is I want to assign the points. And what we can do here? You can click on that. Here you can able to give the points. For example, I'm giving it as a 2. Click on tick. Directly you can able to click here. With that, you can able to assign the points. Other option, click on the story, open the story. In that, you can able to assign the points by depending on the requirement. Otherwise, directly here only we can able to specify the points by depending on our requirement. Now see here, first story it is showing it assignment as a screen was P, but coming to second story it's not showing anything. What's the reason? Again, we have to specify that. How to specify? Just click on this. It is asking to whom you want to assign. You can able to see your name and please click on that. With that, you can able to create the stories and we can able to move the stories to the respective sprint and we can able to give the story points and we can able to assign the story indirectly. We are not discussing any new thing on the morning, whatever we discussed, same thing, just we are replicating on top of the Jira board in practical. But see here, so far what we did, we created the stories, okay? We created stories. Now tell me, as part of sprint planning, try to think and try to give the answer, Andy, where we can able to see all the stories in the sprint planning. During the sprint planning, where we can able to see all the stories. We can able to see all the stories in the current sprint, or we are going to see all the stories in the backlog. Correct answer is we are going to see all the stories in the backlog. Now tell me, in the sprint planning, what is going to happen? In the backlog, you can able to see all the list of the stories, and as a team, we are going to discuss together. We are trying to understand out of all these backlog stories, which stories are important. Now you tell me who will give that information out of all the backlog stories, which stories are important? Who will give that information in the sprint planning meeting? Your product owner. Product owner will try to help you to understand you are having the 10 backlog stories or you are having the 30 backlog stories, and as a product owner, he will try to help you out of all these stories. Business people are expecting these stories has to complete immediately, or business people are expecting these tasks need to complete immediately. With that, he will try to guide you, and with that, what will happen? You can understand what all are the priority stories. After that, what we can do here as a Scrum Master, once product owner is going to specify which stories are important, then what we'll do here as a Scrum Master, he will move the stories from the backlog to your current sprint. And like the way just now we moved the stories from backlog to sprint, right? In the same way, as part of the sprint planning, we are going through each and every story in the backlog and we'll try to move the required stories to your sprint 1. That is one activity. The sprint planning meeting, as we discussed morning, will move stories from backlog to current sprint. This is the one of the activity. What's the next activity? The sprint planning, what is going to happen? First one, we are going to select the stories. Which stories we need to work in this sprint? That is the step 1. Next, what we have to do? We need to specify story points for each and every story. Who need to specify the story points? Scrum Master, wrong answer. If you remember morning I told you only, here as a team, we need to take collective decision to finalize how many story points we have to do. If you remember morning we told you only, team member 1 is given the 2 points, team member 2 is given the 3 points, team member 3 is given the 8 points. Now what will happen? Scrum Master will raise the question, why team member 1 is saying the 2 points, why team member 3 is saying the 8 points. It's a kind of a collective discussion. Finally, with the discussion, we are going to finalize. We want to go ahead with the 2-point story or 3-point story or 5-point story and which is nothing but after finalizing the stories, we need to specify the story points. Might be you will ask the question, sir, then why you are giving the story points immediately? Just for understanding, I did this operation only, but in the real time, as part of sprint planning, we need to go through the each and every story. You need to understand each and every story. After that, we need to specify the points. Okay. After that, what's the next step? Stories are finalized. Story points are finalized. Next step is nothing but we need to assign the stories. Now tell me who will assign the stories. Step 1. As a team member, you yourself can able to pick the stories. As a team member, if you want, you yourself can able to pick the stories. And for example, from last 5 sprints onwards, you are working on Databricks task only. For example, obviously, what will happen? You will get some kind of bore feeling. Now, in the next sprint, you are seeing one opportunity. There is a task on BigQuery. What I can do here? I am having the interest to work on the BigQuery. You can able to tell the Scrum Master from last 5 sprints onwards, I am working on the same Databricks task. I don't want to continue that. I want to explore my knowledge. I want to select the BigQuery. So with that, what we can do here? You yourself can able to pick the task. For example, there is a complex task. We are having 5 complex tasks. Now, no one is picking this task. Then what will happen? No one is picking the complex task. Then what will happen? Then your Scrum Master will come into the picture. Scrum Master will check who is having bandwidth. With that, he will assign the stories. This is the way.
What is bandwidth, sir?
Sorry, bandwidth is nothing but morning we discussed about capacity, right? So, for example, a person is available for 10 days, but he taken the stories for only 5-point stories. Still, how many points he can able to take? A person is available for 10 days in the 2-week sprint. He is available for all the 10 days only. He is saying that I am not taking any leaves, but he taken the sum of the stories. For all the stories, we have seen the number of points are nothing but 5 points. What the meaning of 5 points indirectly? It's a 5 days of work, but still how many number of days he can able to work in the project? 5 more days. That we can able to call it as a bandwidth only. This person is having the 5 more days bandwidth. With that, your Scrum Master will assign the required stories to this person. That we can able to call it as a bandwidth. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now tell me where we are going to perform all these activities as part of your sprint planning. Okay, try to understand everything in the practical way. And first thing, you need to decide which stories we need to work from the backlog. Second thing, you need to specify the story points. As a team together, we have to specify the story points. After that, we need to pick the stories from the team. If any one of the story no one is picking, then Scrum Master will come into the picture. He will assign the stories as part of our sprint planning meeting. Okay. Now, for example, sprint planning meeting is completed. Now, what's the next step? Sprint planning completed. At the same time, all the stories are assigned to each and every person. All those activities are completed. Now, what's the next step? As a Scrum Master, he need to start the sprint. What did happen? As a Scrum Master, he need to start the sprint. And for that reason, if you see here you can able to see the option called as a start sprint. In the real time, you cannot able to see this option. Only Scrum Master can able to see this option. But comment here, you are only acting as a Scrum Master. For that reason, just click on the start sprint in this window. Now tell me in this sprint how many stories we are going to work? Only 2 stories. What is the capacity in this sprint? What is the capacity? 1 plus 2, which is nothing but you are going to work on the only 3 story points only. But real time, are we going to work on only 3 story points? by depending on the number of the members in your team, by depending on the number of leaves they are going to take, we are going to take all the story points. And if you remember, morning I given one calculation. Where it is? Yeah, this one. So here, how many hours we are having? 440 hours. But tell me here, now we need to give the 440 story points, or we need to give what? My team bandwidth is 440 hours. Are we going to give the 440 number of story points, or we need to give 10 days, 8 hours? We are having the 6 members. Now you tell me, help me here. How many story points we need to specify? 6 members we are having in the team. 10 days is the duration of the sprint. Every day 8 hours. So what we need to do? 10 into 6, which is nothing but 60 number of days. So which is nothing but, so we have to specify the points from the number of days, not from the number of hours only. So what we have to do here in this sprint, actually we need to take the 60 points here, but we have created only 2 stories just for understanding. But if you calculate from this one, how many story points we have to take here? We have to take the 60 story point related stories only. If you are having any other stories here, you can able to drag and drop. With that, you can able to go ahead with the sprint with the full capacity. After that, just we need to click on the start sprint. Please click on this. Once we click on the start sprint, what it is asking? It is asking what is the duration of the sprint. It is given the start date, it is given the end date. In the duration, by depending on our requirement, you can able to select 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 4 weeks only. But what we finalized, go ahead with 2 weeks. Don't get the confusion. In the interviews, or if anyone is going to ask the question, you can say we are having the 2 week sprint. Just select the 2 weeks. Click on start. Any questions or any confusion so far, please ask me. So whatever we are discussing, this is the activity every day you are going to see as part of your real-time process. And earlier someone asked the question, in the real time, what we are going to do, how we are going to perform, how we are going to do. Whatever the topics we discussed earlier, all those are falling under what? Your Databricks, Dataproc, GCS, all those are falling under set technical skills. Okay, but today whatever we are discussing, this is falling under process. Okay, in the real time we have to follow the process. As part of the process, we are following the Agile methodology. If you want to use the Agile methodology, we are going to use the Jira board. In the Jira board, we are going to capture all the stories, and with that you can able to see the status of each and every story. Now so far what we have done, you created the story, you started the sprint. Now next what will happen? Every day what is the meeting we are going to have? Daily Scrum meeting, or we can call it as a DSM, or we can able to call it as a simply Scrum call. We can give any kind of naming only, but every day you are going to have the Scrum meeting. Now tell me, in this Scrum meeting, what is going to happen? As we discussed morning, every team member come into the picture. He is going to explain what? 3 things he is going to explain. What are those? What he did yesterday, what he is planning to do today, and any issues or concerns. All this kind of information they are going to explain as part of our DSM. Now, as part of the DSM, and your Scrum Master will open the board. So see here, this is the board for this sprint, GB sprint 1. How we came to here? Once you click on the start sprint, then automatically you can able to come to this window. Otherwise, in the left side, you can able to see the option called as a board. And once you click on the board, then you can able to come to this window. In this window, what is the sprint number? Sprint 1. Now, how many stories we are having in this sprint? 2 stories. Who is working on these 2 stories? In my system, as a screen was, I am working on these 2 stories only. But in the real time, what will happen? You can able to see 20 stories or 30 stories. All the stories are distributed to the each and every team member. Now, what need to happen? What is the current status of these 2 stories from the screen was? Both the stories are in the to-do status only. Now, for example, you started working on top of the story. Now, what we need to do? We need to keep here only, or we need to move it to the in progress. You have to move it into the in progress only. Just drag and drop. Just you need to move this story from the to-do to in progress, which is nothing but now in the daily Scrum meeting, your Scrum Master is going to open this window. By seeing this window, what he can able to understand? Srinivas started work on this GB1 story. Now this story is in progress. At the same time, if you want, what we can do here is just click on the story. We can able to add the comments here. If you click on the story here, you can able to see the option called as a add a comment, and so we can able to specify I started working on this story. This is the way we can able to add the comments also on top of your stories, and after adding the comment, just click on the save button. After adding the comment, just click on the save button. Now what I will do here, as part of the Scrum meeting, just I will say I started the working on GB1 story in the yesterday, and today I'm going to continue on top of the same story. I don't have any kind of issues to work on top of the story. That is the way simply you are going to share your status as part of our daily Scrum meeting. And what I am saying here, as a Srinivas, I am working on this story. I started work on this story yesterday. Today also I will continue on the same story. For this story, I don't have any kind of issues. This is the way you have to give the status as part of your Scrum meeting. Now coming to second day of the Scrum meeting, Andy, for example, you completed the story. What we need to do now? Just move the story to the done. After that, if you want, we can able to give the comment. Click on the story. Now I'm adding the comment. This story completed. This story completed. Click on save button. That's it, or we need to perform any other activities? Any guesses? Once you are going to complete one story, immediately what you have to do? You need to pick the one more story which is assigned on your name, and otherwise in the Scrum meeting, simply your Scrum Master will ask the question, okay, you completed this story. Now currently what you are working? Nothing is in progress. For that reason, to avoid such kind of questions, and whenever we are going to complete one story, if there are any other stories on top of your name, what we can do here? Simply you need to perform drag and drop it into the in progress. Now tell me, in the second day of the sprint, again we are going to have the daily Scrum meeting. In that meeting, what I need to say? You try to give the answer now. Yesterday, I completed the GB1 story. Today, I am continue to work on the GB2 story. I don't have any kind of issues. This is the way you can able to give the status on top of your second day, and like this. Every day, you have to provide the status as part of your Scrum meeting. At the same time, whatever the stories you completed, whatever the stories are in progress, you have to move all the stories like this, Andy. But tell me, you are only going to perform this activity, or all the team members has to perform this activity every day? All the team members has to perform this activity every day. But at present, in your system, in your Jira account, only you are the person you are having. That's the reason you can able to see only your stories, Andy. But if you are going to work in the real time within the sprint board, you can able to see your stories, and you can able to see the other people's stories also. But if you want to move the story, you need to move your story, or you need to move the other people's stories also. You have to move only your stories, and don't touch any other people's story, because you are the responsible for your stories only. You are not responsible for other people's stories. For that reason, you need to move only your stories from the to do to in progress. After that, in progress to done. Like that, you can able to move the stories from one place to other place, and same status we are going to explain as part of our daily Scrum meeting. Okay. Again, any questions up to here, please ask me. Hope now you can able to link whatever we discussed in the morning session. You can able to correlate everything by using the Jira board, and that's the reason first we discussed theory. Now we are discussing about the practical. With this, you can able to recollect whatever we discussed in the morning session. We are replicating same thing as part of our practicals in the Jira board. We completed the sprint planning. After that, we are doing the daily Scrum meeting. This daily Scrum meeting we are going to have every day. How much time? Only 50 minutes. Okay, only for 50 minutes we are going to have the daily Scrum meeting as part of our everyday session, Andy. Now what's the next step? What's the next step? For example, our sprint end date came. What we need to do? By that time, you need to complete all your stories. For example, for any reason, if you are not going to complete the story, what will happen? First thing, Scrum Master will ask the question, why this story not completed? You are having a genuine reason. If you are going to give the genuine reason, what will happen here? As a Scrum Master, he will move the story from the sprint 1 to the sprint 2 and if any one of the stories are not completed in the current sprint, then what will happen? First thing, Scrum Master will raise the question. He will try to understand why the story is not completed. After that, he will move the story from the current sprint to the next sprint and for example, now I will move this to the done. Now what happened? All the stories are completed. With that, I can able to close the story. But tell me here, after the sprint ending, what we need to do? After completion of the sprint end, first one, we need to perform sprint review meeting. In this review meeting, what is going to happen? Sprint review meeting after completion of the sprint. What is going to happen? You need to explain all your stories to your team members. What you have done in this story. Have you created any code or have you created any data pipeline? Have you created any airflow log? All those information you have to explain. You need to show all that code and everything. With that, you can able to perform the sprint review meeting. And now, for example, sprint review meeting completed. After that, we are going to have the one more meeting. What was that? We are going to have retrospective meeting. In this retrospective meeting, what we are going to discuss? What went well, and we are going to discuss about what not went well, and what else? Any improvements required in this project. All these three are the things we are going to capture. For the purpose of capturing all these things, and your Scrum Master will use Excel sheet, or they are using some other places. There they are going to capture all these kind of details. Whatever the things we are discussing in the retrospective meeting, your Scrum Master is going to capture all this information in the Excel sheet, or by using any other locations, they are going to capture all this kind of information. Now, sprint review meeting completed, retrospective meeting completed. What else? Your backlog grooming meeting. In this meeting, what we'll do? We'll discuss about our future tasks. Accordingly, what will happen? We need to create stories under the sprint or under the backlog. Under the backlog. So whatever the stories you want to work in the coming days, and all the stories we need to create it in the backlog. And with that, again, your sprint planning meeting will start. In the sprint planning meeting, again, we'll discuss all the stories together. Again, we'll move the stories to the sprint. After that, again, every day daily scrum meeting is going to happen. After that, as part of the sprint ending, again, we are going to have the sprint review meeting. Like this, what will happen? This iteration is one-time activity or a kind of a continuous activity? This iteration is nothing but a kind of a continuous activity. Every iteration we can able to call it as a sprint 1, second iteration sprint 2, third iteration sprint 3. Like that, you are going to continue the work on top of your sprints. And this is the way simply you can able to understand what activities we are going to perform on top of the Jira as a team member or as a Scrum Master. Forget about the Scrum Master. At least you need to understand as a team member what all are the activities we are going to perform by using our Jira board. Okay, trust me, if you are going to work in the real time, you are going to follow the Agile methodology only most of the projects. And if you are going to follow the Agile methodology, by default you need to access the Jira board. In this Jira board, you are going to perform all our required activities. That's the reason only we are discussing all these topics as part of our sessions. Okay, up to here, any questions or confusions, please ask me.
So if I want to add story 3 to to-do list, so how should we do in this screen?
In this screen, you cannot able to directly move the story to the to-do only. First step is, so if you want to get the story into the to-do, what need to happen? Somebody is asking the question, I want to get the stories into the to-do. How we can able to get the stories into the to-do? Step 1, you need to create the story. Step 2, you need to move the story to the sprint 1, because this is the board for what? This entire board is for the sprint 1, and for that reason, if you want to get any new story to the to-do list, what need to happen? First, we need to create the story. After that, we need to assign that story to the sprint 1. With that, you can able to see the story on top of your to-do list. But tell me, in the real time, in between the sprint, can we able to add new stories into existing sprint? Answer is yes or no. Is again one of
yes,
the
sir.
questions.
I believe yes.
Answer
Yes,
is
sir. Yes.
yes. Okay. For example, you given the 3 points for a particular story, and but within one day only you completed the work. Indirectly, how many days of bandwidth you are having? You are having the 2 more days of the bandwidth. Whenever you are having the bandwidth, obviously what you can do here, you can able to go to the backlog. In the backlog, if any stories are available, you can inform to your Scrum Master saying that I am having the bandwidth. I want to take the story into the current sprint. With that, your Scrum Master can able to move the next story to the current sprint. And now what we'll do here is, just I will create a new story again. I'm giving story 3. Click on create. Now tell me where we can able to see the story. You try to help me where we can able to see the story.
In backlog,
Just go to backlog, but tell me in the backlog you can able to see it in the top section or bottom section. In the backlog window, you can able to see it in the top section or bottom section.
Bottom section.
You see here the backlog. In the top section, this is for your sprint 1 and bottom section, this is for your backlog. Now you are having the story in the backlog and you are having the bandwidth and you want to work on top of the story in the same sprint only. So what we can do here, you need to inform to the Scrum Master. Then what Scrum Master will do? He will move the story to the current sprint. So what's happening here? It is going to perform some kind of impact on top of your thing. Just click on the confirm. Now you move the story to the current sprint. Now I want to see the status of all these stories. Again, where I need to go? I want to see status of all these stories. Where I need to go? Click on board.
Board.
That's it. Now see in the board, you can able to see the status as a to do only like that. See, once after completion of the class, you can able to play like anything only. So because the thing is going to happen, no money is going to cut here. Create the story, move it to the backlog and move it to the sprint like that. Try to create the 10-20 stories and with that you can able to get some kind of habituation. But don't blindly try to create the stories and try to understand what you are doing. Okay, in the sprint planning, we are going to have all the stories in the backlog. As part of sprint planning, we need to move the stories to the sprint. After the sprint planning, we are going to have the daily scrum meeting. In the daily scrum meeting, we need to move the stories from the to do to in progress or in progress to done. In the daily scrum meeting, I have to give the status. I need to specify what I did yesterday, what I'm doing today, tomorrow what I'm going to perform. All this kind of information I need to explain. Like that, think all these statements. With that, try to perform the practice on top of all this. One more thing here. Just here I'm giving some information to you. I will share this Excel sheet after completion of the class and in this Excel, if you observe here, we can able to see backlog stories. Just for our understanding, because in the interview, sometimes they will ask the question, can you please explain any one of the story which you recently worked on? That's the reason. Here I'm giving the story name. So far, what we did? Just I given the dummy story. Story 3, story 1, story 2. But in the real time, are we going to give like this? No, right? You have to give the proper name on this. So for that reason, here I given the some list of the stories. First story, what it is? User story. This is for data ingestion activity. Second one, this is for data streaming activity. Third one, for the purpose of doing the batch data processing activity. Next one, for the purpose of doing the data warehousing activity. Like that, I given some list of the stories here and just to go through all this list. With this, go back to the sprint backlog. Now see, all these are the stories we can able to see on top of your backlog and if you see the first one, see the first story and try to give the explanation to me what we are doing as part of the first story here. In the first story, what I'm doing? User story. This is the what type of story? Data ingestion. In this story, how many files we are going to ingest? File 1 to 5. If you see the summary here, description, I'm saying that as a data engineer, I want to ingest raw data from external sources into the Google Cloud Storage indirectly. In this story, what is the work you are doing? You are moving the files from your local system to the GCS bucket. That is the work you are going to perform on top of this story. Now, I want to create the story in the sprint and what we need to do. You tell me. Take the, copy this name. This is the summary is going to happen. Now, just go back here. I want to click on create. I'm giving the summary as a heading, user story, data ingestion, files 1 to 5. After that, we need to provide the description. Just copy this content. Now remove all these things, give it as like this. As a data engineer, I want to ingest raw data, all these things, just click on create. Now again, go back to backlog. In the backlog, move the story to the current sprint. Click on confirm. Now go back to the board. Now in the board, you can able to see this is the current story. Actually, this is the way we can able to see the stories as part of our real time. Don't assume that in the real time we are going to give the story 1, story 2, story 3 and D. Only for understanding, I give it as a story 1, story 2, story 3. Now you understand all the concepts. With that, what we can do here? We can able to create the real time stories on top of your Jira board and D. Now, what is the assignment you can able to perform here? I will share this Excel sheet to you. With this Excel sheet, what you can do? Try to create all these 10 stories in your Jira board. After that, move all these stories into your current sprint. After that, try to move all these stories from to do to in progress to done. With that, what will happen? You can able to perform some hands-on activities on top of your Jira board. But tell me, in the real time, in the same day, are we going to complete all the 10 stories? No, right? But for the practice purpose, you can able to perform that activity. But in the real time, every day we are going to do the only 1 or 2 activities only only. But as part of doing the practice, first step, create all these stories. Step 1, those stories will create in the backlog. Coming to step 2, what you have to do here? You need to move all the stories into the sprint, where we need to perform all these activities in the backlog. After that, after moving all the stories into the backlog, then come to the board. Within the board, what you can do here? Move one story from to do to in progress to done. Second story, same thing. Third story, same thing. Like that, move all the stories to the done status. With that, you can able to understand how we can able to utilize the Jira board as part of our real time. But tell me here, why this entire Jira board came into the picture? That's the main topic, right? Why we are discussing Jira board?
To track.
Because in the real time, for the tracking, that's a okay. Why we need to track all these things?
We are working on
Our
Why-
team lead or scrum master will know what we are working.
Why he need to know? Someone is saying the scrum master or team lead not to know what is the status. Why he need to know? What is the main reason we came to the Jira board? What is the methodology we are following? Agile. As part of Agile, what we have to do? We need to follow the Scrum. Within the Scrum, what we need to follow? Iterations. For every iteration, we are calling it as a sprint. In the sprint, we are going to have the multiple stories. For every story, we need to track the status. Indirectly, all your answers are correct only. But what is the main reason? Because of following the Agile methodology to maintain the sprints or to maintain the task or to see the status of each and every task, we are going to use the Jira board as part of our real-time project. That is the way you can able to specify the answer. And one more important thing, Andy, by using this Excel sheet, what I'm telling, you can able to perform the assignment, whatever we discussed, Andy. At the same time, please go through so for some reason, my Excel sheet is not moving. But what I'm trying to say here is, in this sprint backlog tab, you can able to see the around 9 to 10 stories. Andy, please go through all the stories and try to understand in the story what we are going to perform, because these are the kind of the activities we are going to see as a data engineer in the real time. That's the reason, just to go through all the stories, Andy. Don't blindly copy paste and create the stories. Understand what is the story, what we are doing in the story. With that, create the stories in the sprint. With that, you can able to perform the practice on top of your Jira board. Okay. Any other questions on top of this Jira board? Please ask me here. Yeah, see, actually what will happen is, if you observe here, observe what we are having, project slash your project name slash, here we can able to see the epic slash, we can able to see the story name. So what is the meaning of epic here is, stories are nothing but it's a kind of a individual task. Okay. Now coming to epic is nothing but it's a collection of different stories, or we can able to say if we want to showcase a full work on top of your project, then we can create epics. So whenever you want to display your full case of the full work of your project, then what we can do here, we can able to create the epics only. And again here what we can do, we can able to create multiple epics. For example, to perform ingestion activity, we can able to create one epic. What will happen? Whatever the ingestion stories we are having, you can able to move all the ingestion stories on top of this epic. Okay. In the same way, for scheduling related stories, you can able to create one more epic. So what we can do here, whatever the stories we are going to work on top of the scheduling side, you can able to move all those stories on top of this epic. Indirectly, we can able to say epic is nothing but it's a kind of a top level work, and story is nothing but it's a kind of a bottom level work. If you want to track the top level work, then we can able to go to the epics. But if you want to track the bottom level work, then we can able to go for the stories. But again, the same thing in the real time, who is going to create the epics? Your scrum master only, but better to have knowledge about the epics also. Epic is going to contain the top level work, and coming to stories, it is going to contain the bottom level work. It's clear? Okay. Any other questions still? No questions? Okay. If no questions, that's all for today, Andy. Now, after completion of the practice here, you can leave this account as is, Andy. Whenever you want, after 1 month or 2 months, again you can able to open and you can able to perform the practice. But my sincere suggestion here is, please copy this URL. Copy this URL into your into your notepad, or send this URL to your mail ID, because after 1 month, if you want to understand what is your URL for the Jira board, you cannot able to recollect or you cannot able to remember. That's the reason whatever the URL we are having here, this URL please copy it only. Why we are having the URL name as Srinivas 552? Why my name is there, or why your name is there? Because as part of creation of the Jira, we given the Jira URL and there we given the name. By using that name, it created the URL like this. That's the reason. In future, if you want to utilize the same URL, you have to save it and for that reason, please save it in the notepad or please save it in the mail. With that, after 1 month or 2 months also, you can able to perform the practice on top of your Jira. But immediate activity for today is nothing but I will share this Excel sheet. Whatever the stories we are having in this Excel sheet, please go through all the stories and create all the stories in the Jira board and move all the stories into the sprint. After that, move all the stories from the to do to in progress and in progress to done. With that, you can able to perform the practice on top of your Jira board. Okay. Any questions still if you are having, please ask me. No questions? Okay. If no questions, that's all for today only. We'll meet you in the tomorrow session. Thank you.